Louise Haigh's shock resignation has thrown Keir Starmer's Labour government into turmoil, with accusations of dishonesty and hypocrisy swirling through Westminster. A decade-old fraud conviction has resurfaced, leaving voters and political opponents alike questioning the Labour leader's judgment and transparency. But the scandal doesn't end there. During a fiery session of Prime Minister's questions, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch delivered a blistering attack, cornering Starmer on what he knew about Haigh's criminal past. Starmer's response? A masterclass in evasiveness, dodging question after question as Badenoch piled on the pressure. Check out the clip of the debate.
But, Mr. Speaker, the question today is what has been on the lips of all Labour MPs, including, I believe, the Health Secretary yesterday. The Prime Minister knowingly appointed a convicted fraudster to be his Transport Secretary. What was he thinking?
Mr. Speaker, the previous Transport Secretary was right when further information came forward to resign. What a marked contrast to behaviour in the last 14 years. And she talks about immigration, record levels of immigration under the previous government, nearly 1 million. And she was the cheerleader. She was the one urging on the removal of the caps for work visas. She was thanking the previous Home Secretary for the work that was done. She championed it, she advocated it. Record numbers of immigration.
Mr. Speaker, he's obfuscating, but I'm going to keep him on the topic. He owes the House an explanation. He said that the former Transport Secretary was only asked to resign after further information came to light. What was that further information?
I'm not going to disclose private conversations. Further information came to light. The Justice Secretary resigned. As I say, what a marked contrast. But whilst she's obsessing with the Westminster issues, we're getting on with fixing the mess, fixing the foundations, that £22 billion black hole, our prisons bursting, and Mr. Speaker, as we found out last week, nearly 1 million net migration numbers because of the Tory open borders policy.
The Louise Haigh affair is quickly spiralling into one of the most damaging scandals of Starmer's premiership. Haigh, once a rising star in Labour's cabinet, was forced to step down after it emerged that she had pleaded guilty to a fraud offence in 2013. Back then, Haigh was working for insurance giant Aviva when she falsely reported a mugging to the police, claiming her work mobile phone had been stolen. The truth? She later found the phone tucked away in a drawer at home. A simple mistake, according to Haigh, who insisted she only pleaded guilty on her solicitor's advice. The court issued her a conditional discharge, and the matter was swept under the rug, until now. Haigh reportedly disclosed the conviction to Starmer in 2020, shortly after he became Labour leader, but this information didn't stop him from appointing her to his shadow cabinet, nor did it prevent her from climbing the ranks to become Transport Secretary when Labour took office in July. However, Haigh failed to notify the government's propriety and ethics team about the conviction, a crucial misstep that would prove her undoing. When the details came to light last week, Starmer accepted her resignation, citing new information, without specifying what that information was. That lack of transparency has become a lightning rod for criticism. During PMQs, Badenoch seized on the ambiguity, hammering Starmer with pointed questions about his knowledge of Haigh's conviction. Did he know about the criminal conviction and put her in the cabinet anyway? Or did he not? And that's why she was fired on Friday? Badenoch asked, her tone cutting through the chamber like a knife. Starmer's response, a terse, "I'm not going to disclose private information," only added fuel to the fire. Downing Street has been equally tight-lipped. A spokesperson repeatedly dodged journalists' questions about what Starmer knew and when, offering only vague assurances that the Prime Minister accepted Haigh's resignation after reviewing unspecified further information. This evasiveness has raised serious questions about Labour's commitment to transparency, with critics accusing the government of hiding behind a smokescreen of confidentiality. For Starmer, the timing couldn't be worse. After years of attacking the Conservatives over scandals and ethical breaches, Labour is now grappling with its own credibility crisis. Social media erupted in outrage, with hashtags like #HaigHgate and #LabourSleaze trending across platforms. Pundits have been quick to draw parallels between this scandal and the sleaze allegations that dogged Boris Johnson's premiership, arguing that Starmer's moral high ground has crumbled. The backlash has extended beyond social media. Labour insiders are reportedly furious with Haigh for releasing a personal statement to the media without consulting Downing Street first. In her statement, Haigh described the incident as a genuine mistake and expressed regret that her past actions had become a distraction. But her decision to go public without coordinating with senior officials has left Labour scrambling to contain the fallout. Meanwhile, questions are mounting about Labour's vetting process. How did a conviction, however minor, escape the scrutiny of the Propriety and Ethics team? Why wasn't the issue revisited when Labour moved from opposition to government? Critics argue that the party's internal safeguards have failed, leaving it vulnerable to precisely this kind of scandal. Adding to Labour's woes, the timing of Haigh's resignation has overshadowed another contentious issue: the party's new inheritance tax policy on family farms. Dubbed the family farm tax, the policy has sparked outrage in rural communities, with farmers accusing Labour of punishing them for being asset-rich but cash-poor. The Conservatives, sensing an opportunity to capitalise on Labour's misstep, forced a Commons debate on the issue. Shadow Environment Secretary Victoria Atkins delivered a scathing critique of the policy, warning that it would devastate rural families already struggling to make ends meet. How on earth are farmers, earning as little as £20,000 a year, supposed to pay inheritance tax bills in the hundreds of thousands? Atkins asked during her GB News appearance. This is not just bad policy, it's cruel. Labour MPs faced significant pressure during the vote, with some expressing unease about the policy's impact on their rural constituents, yet the party ultimately held the line, defeating the Conservatives' motion by a wide margin. Still, the debate has exposed cracks within Labour's ranks, with several MPs vowing to push for amendments to the policy in the coming months. For the Conservatives, the optics of this rural revolt have been a gift. Tory MP Harriet Cross lambasted Labour for prioritising urban constituencies over the countryside, urging Britons to stand with our farmers against what she called punitive taxation. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage and other high-profile critics have rallied behind the farming community, amplifying their grievances on social media and in the press. Together, the Haigh resignation and the family farm tax fiasco have dealt a 1-2 punch to Labour's credibility. For a party that promised integrity and competence, these missteps are a stark reminder of the challenges that come with governing. As Starmer grapples with the fallout, one thing is clear: the honeymoon is over, and Labour's grip on power is already being tested. If Starmer hoped that Haigh's resignation would close the book on this controversy, he was sorely mistaken. The public wants answers, and until Labour provides them, this scandal will continue to dominate headlines. Whether it's Haigh's misjudgment, Starmer's evasiveness, or the government's mismanagement of its rural policies, one question looms large. Is this the beginning of Labour's unravelling? If you want more updates on this explosive story and all the latest twists in UK politics, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and stay tuned, because the scandals rocking Westminster are far from over.